Welcome to today's podcast live talk from Heart to Heart. I really appreciate that you guys could attend. I am one half of Heart to Heart, and I'm the founder of Heart to Heart. And also, if you are new here, welcome today. This is another week where we kind of get vendors to kind of share your problems during this COVID season. And basically, Heart to Heart is actually run by me and my wife, Tangi. And we are a wedding video production company that focuses on to help couples craft their love stories, and usually we'll find out the how and the why they fall in love, because we believe that every story is worth telling. And we also create this podcast live stream thing, this session, to basically talk about relationship topics and to help couples kind of like solve their relationship problems. And recently, because of this whole COVID situation, we saw couples got affected. They had to delay, they had to postpone all their wedding plans, and hence we were thinking like, hey, we should actually do something for the couples and see like how best we could help them. So as part of the efforts to really help the couples plan their wedding, we decided to kind of like hook up some of our favorite vendors to rope in the expert opinions to help. That way you guys could get a checklist to kind of know the things that you need to know for weddings. So there's a lot of insights that a lot of vendors don't really share, but we wanted to kind of let you guys know what are things that you need to know. Ultimately, you could save more time, and also you can know the things that you need to do before you actually embark on this journey. So, like any other week, this week we actually got one of our favorite vendors, and she really want to help us out by actually sharing more about her expertise. So we know that a lot of you guys there are actually work on engagement rings, wedding rings, and wedding bands. So we wanted to, and also symbolically, the wedding bands are also just as important because it symbolizes your everlasting commitment to one another. And it's also one of the most expensive purchase during this whole of your whole wedding budget. So as such, I wanted to invite Amanda from August Bespoke here to today to kind of give her expert opinions on the matters, to share her insight tips, 5 by the way, and to let you guys know what to think about during you make these important decisions, and to avoid the expensive mistake, because once you buy it, it's like, whoa, there's like a lot of budget. Huh? So really welcome, Amanda. Let me put you in the stream. And of course, in Instagram, you're already with me. So let me pop you in a bit. Hi, Amanda. You should be on Facebook now and on IG. So, yeah, let me pop you. Okay, let's see. So, make sure that everybody know. Okay, so Amanda is the founder of August Bespoke. So, Amanda is a certified diamond specialist. And private jeweler at August Bespoke. She was introduced to gemology at a young age by her mother, who is very passionate about gemstone collector. So, formerly from Goldman Sachs, Amanda's meticulous approach to the custom ring process is regularly raved about her global clientele. Amanda started August Bespoke to help her friends struggling through the process who didn't know where to go or who to trust with such an important long-term investment. Amanda gained her certification from Gemological Institute of America, GIA for short, in New York City, one of the largest and most important diamond markets in the world. So, hi, Amanda.
So, we both know, Yentong and I, that this is Saturday night. You guys could be doing a lot of other things, but I promise to make this session fruitful for you, okay? So just by being here, I guarantee you guys are going to save a lot of time, headache, money, thousands of dollars potentially. Thank you for spending your Saturday night with us. For those of you who have not met me, my name is Amanda. I'm the founder of August Bespoke, and I make custom engagement rings, wedding bands, and jewelry for clients around the world. I'm certified in gemstones and diamonds by the Gemological Institute of America, which is considered the world's leading laboratory for grading diamonds. And as Yentong mentioned, my mom is a passionate gemstone collector. She's been collecting for over 40 years. And when I was really young, I think I was like 7 or 8, she used to quiz me on the 4 C's. Okay, so you can say I've been in the field really like my whole life. Fun fact, as Yentong mentioned, I started my career in a different field. And just like many of you guys, if you're very meticulous, you do a lot of research, I'm just like you, okay? So I started the business. Well, it's an interesting story. A lot of my friends were getting married at a certain point in time. And of course, they used to invite me to tag along because I know much more than the average person. But I realized that there were a lot of issues with the traditional jewelry business that made the customer experience very confusing, right? So a couple of big problems. I'm going to go through it. If you guys relate to any of these problems, text us. Number one, it's very judgy. or it's kind of like a stressful experience to walk into a jewelry store, right? You have this feeling of, oh, these guys are going to hard sell me something. So that's not the most pleasant experience. Number two, the big brands can cost a ton. So if you want to buy, let's say, I know a bunch of you have mentioned you like the diamond eternity rings, right? So at Tiffany's, a diamond eternity ring can be up to 16,000 US dollars, which is a crazy amount for a lot of people. Third problem is that the options are very limited by what they have. So the model of a typical jewelry store is such that they want to stock their bestsellers and move their inventory. So it tends to be, I guess, a bit cookie cutter. So if you want to make something just for yourself, it's not really in their interest to push that. And you can kind of feel that as a customer. The fourth problem, I would say the biggest problem for the average person looking to get their wedding bands or jewelry in general, is it's very difficult to get a big picture overview and just kind of a neutral person to give you advice, right? Like I said, the shop people want to sell you what they have. Online bloggers make money from affiliate links. So if you guys are like researching blogs and they tell you to buy from a certain place, just know that behind the scenes, they're doing it for the people who pay them. Number three, forums are confusing. So if you have a question and you go online, like, should I buy A or B? Like 500 people will say A and then 500 people will say B, and then you end up being more confused. And at the end of the day, it's such an important thing. You're proposing, you're getting your wedding bands. You want a real human being kind of responsible for your ring, right? To make sure that everything's okay, that if the sizing is off, that you can resize it. So with that in mind, I founded August Bespoke, which is a very different jewelry house from other people. So we don't have any physical inventory. So we keep our cost structure low, and we pass the savings on to you. And for me, I care a lot about, and why clients love me is I really am here to give you neutral and objective advice. I don't personally care what you choose, A, B, or C. I care more about you guys getting the full amount of information to make the best decision for you. Just as background, so I work with gemstone cutters, diamond cutters from around the world, a lot of family businesses. So we have a lot of special things that we do. We can custom cut diamonds for you. So really with us, the sky is the limit. Our business is completely referral driven. So I think you guys have all come here because you know a friend or a client of mine who's worked with me. So my goal with Yen Song today to answer questions is to keep this super casual. I really want to give you guys the insider tips, okay, that I give my own friends, my own family. And really the goal is to help you guys get something out of this, okay? So stay engaged with us. We're very happy that you're here. If you're with us, say hi. I see you guys on Instagram and I see you guys on Facebook. So say hi in the chat. We have Yen Song's wife standing by who has very kindly agreed to moderate this. So if you guys have any comments or questions, she's going to monitor that and make sure that we see it. Okay, so is everybody ready? Can you guys say hi so we know you're here with us?
Let me go straight to the agenda so that everybody knows what we're going to cover today. So, okay, the agenda today is we know that how stressful the wedding process is. And our first goal for today is to answer the 11 most frequently asked questions about wedding rings so that they become one less thing that you worry about when planning your wedding. So as we go through this question, Amanda will share the most common mistakes other couples make that you should avoid, particularly considerations that impact longevity of rings. Amanda will just share the practical consideration that impact longevity of your rings. At the end, she will summarize the 5 insider tips, which is important because she actually shared with me personally and I love it, on creating the most ideal rings that you could possibly make. Okay, you are back on Facebook. So,
hi guys. Okay.
Amanda, so let's go to the first question. When should I start thinking about my wedding rings?
Okay, so I get this question all the time. The short answer is try to start 2 months in advance. Usually you want like 2 to 3 weeks to kind of look around, go into stores, go on Pinterest. I'll talk more about this later, but usually you want to give yourself a little bit of breathing room to kind of enjoy the process, because it shouldn't be super rushed. Once you have an idea about designs, my side will model it out for you. Like my team will model it out for you to visualize and then kind of make changes. And then once you confirm that design is what you want, it takes 3 to 4 weeks to make a custom ring from scratch. And that's in white gold, which is the most popular option. If you want it in platinum, that like 3 to 4 weeks can become 4 to 5. So all in all, when you add it up, I would say the short answer is try to start 2 months in advance. If you have not gotten your engagement ring yet, I know there are some of you guys who are like super proactive really early. And sometimes, if you're lucky, you get your girlfriend involved. It's worthwhile to think about it together before you even get the engagement ring. So, Yensong, if you don't mind showing the first slide, I just want to show you guys that construction can be impacted, like construction of your engagement ring can be impacted if you're thinking about the wedding band. So if you guys, I don't know if you can see the slide up right now, but you guys can see in the most ideal situation, it's up. Okay. In the most ideal situation, like I think girls like to, well, not, okay. In the most ideal situation whereby the girl chooses that she would like to wear both together, ideally you want the option whereby the rings are sitting flush with no gap. Can you guys see? Let us know if you can kind of see the diagram, right? So what you ideally don't want is to have that gap, which looks a little bit awkward to me. It looks like it wasn't designed together. So but that again is for the guys who are lucky enough to have the girls get involved, right? Because one of the things we have to do in order to create that look is when we're designing the engagement ring, we have to set the diamond or gemstone high enough such that it's not blocking. You guys can see the prongs start at a different place. So the original question was when should I start thinking about my wedding band? And I'm just saying that if you're doing this together as a couple, which I'm seeing more and more often, you want to think about that as early as possible. Okay? So that's my answer to the first question. I hope that helps. Yeah. Okay, so if you guys go to my Instagram, I put this kind of a step-by-step in my stories. I have a highlights called Wedding Bands. If you want to go and visually look at it, go. But I'm just going to break it down, okay? So usually if somebody is completely lost, we go through a 5-step process. First question I have for you is what gold color do you like? So there are 3. There's white gold, rose gold, and yellow gold. Most of the ladies out there, you guys tend to have a preference. I know some people just like rose gold as a color. Some people think, yellow gold looks better with their skin tone. Like whatever it is that you like, I think you have to figure that out. For the guys, I think the most popular option I get is white gold and yellow gold. Fewer guys ask me for rose gold, but again, it's really a personal choice. Okay, so step 1 is figuring out what gold color you like. Step number 2, and Yenso, I'm going to get you to show the slide, is to figure out what ring width you like. So naturally for the ladies, the ring width tends to be a bit narrower. So the most popular choice for ladies is somewhere between 2 to 3 mm. And then for the guys, it tends to be between 4 and 4.5 mm, depending. You want it slightly thicker. Those are basically the choices. So if that makes sense, you guys can see that on the slide. Again, this is all my Instagram and my highlights about wedding bands. Okay, so we skip it and you don't have time to look, go look on my Instagram. So step 1, gold color. Step 2, ring width. Step 3 is to figure out what ring profile you like. So Yenso is going to show us a slide. Yeah. So you guys can see the kind of different options for the outside profile and the inside profile. Let us know. Oh, sorry. So everybody on Instagram, if you guys cannot see the slides, it's because we have it on Facebook. Instagram is kind of annoying. Like we don't get to really show you guys details here. So, oh yeah, there we go. Oh, okay. See, your wife has kindly responded. Okay. Yeah, so I'm sorry to the guys on Instagram. Try to join us on Facebook. Okay, yeah. But if not, you can go to my story highlights and look. But yes, ring profile, you guys can see there are different options. I just want to point out for the guys and the girls, the most popular option that I usually recommend for my clients is the half round outside profile. Can you guys see that? Half round outside profile and then comfort fit on the inside. I mentioned comfort fit, and this is something that, if you've bought a lot of costume jewelry in the past, like maybe your wedding bands or your engagement rings or your first piece of fine jewelry made with, precious metals and gemstones. So I just want to mention comfort fit because that's a little bit of a detail on the construction side that can make a huge difference to how it feels when you wear it. So a comfort fit is basically a slightly domed interior. It takes more gold to make, but that's the construction aspect that's going to make it comfortable to take on and off and to wear it. Because if the ring is completely flat on the inside, that a lot of cheap jewelry tends to be flat on the inside, you kind of have that feeling of like it being stuck to your skin, and that's not super comfortable. Okay, and the reason why I mentioned half round outside is because you have to think about your fingers pressing like, if you're wearing it on your fourth, I'm not doing it on my right hand, but your neighboring fingers are going to be pressed against the finger with your ring. And if you have any sharp edges, we'll talk about this more later, sharp edges is not the most comfortable. So that's just giving you guys an overview, okay, about like the ring profile and what's the most popular. So to recap, step 1, gold color. Step 2, width. Step 3 is ring profile. Step 4, I don't have a slide for this, but you guys can just listen and write notes. So step 4 is finishing. So do you guys, I usually put it into 2 buckets, like polished versus matte. So when you think of polished, you're basically, whatever you imagine to be like a gold ring, that white, shiny, not necessarily white because it could be yellow gold, but that shiny luster on a ring, that's the polished version, like that high sheen. A matte could be different textures, but that's for people who maybe don't like it so super shiny. A lot of guys tend to opt for matte. So that's something to keep in mind. I'll talk more about that later as we talk about the practicality of it. But yes, step 4 is finishing. So gold color, ring width, ring profile, finishing. The last question on my 5-step process is whether or not you want diamonds in your ring. So this, people tend to think, oh, this is like the ladies who tend to make this decision, but there are guys who also don't mind having diamonds, either on the outside or on the inside. So that's just something you have to think through. I think we'll talk more about this later. Someone asked me about the pros and cons of, a band with diamonds and without diamonds. So we'll talk more about that. But that's the 5th thing that you kind of have to sort of think about as you're thinking about choosing your ring. And Yan Tong's question actually was, you're quite lost about the whole process. So those are the 5 questions I will ask you to get you started. But in terms of the steps, the process, so after you kind of decide these big picture things, we're going to actually have a consultation. So if you're actually making a custom ring, you would have a call with me and we'll talk about these things. And I'll give you more specific tips about your rings. And then we have to, again, create a design mock-up, review that, make any changes, and then it'll take another 3 to 4 weeks to make. So that's just kind of like the overview of the whole process. And how you should approach it if you're completely lost. Okay?
There is a lot to take in. I hope you guys are paying close attention to it.
It's okay. It's on my Instagram stories. It's fine. If you guys are lost, just go to Instagram.
Yeah. Anyway, this will be recorded, so we'll be showing it on the Facebook page itself. Yeah, Amanda also have a copy of it, so she'll be posting it also. So the next question is a shout out to Cassandra, who actually asked us this question. So there are like so many designs out there. How do you choose the one that you really, really love? Okay, so I'm going to say that you need to do a lot of exploration. I think it's kind of like, the ladies on this call, you guys comment if you agree with me, but it's kind of like saying there's so many shoes in the world, how do I pick my favorite, right? So part of it is that you have to look at a lot of shoes. You don't necessarily need to, I guess in rings, we'll talk about it in 2 steps, but I have to say you have to spend some time looking. A good starting point is Pinterest. So on Pinterest, if you guys go and type wedding on Pinterest, you get like 10,000 things, but it does help you kind of narrow down the design elements that you like. I just mentioned the 5 questions you kind of need to ask yourself, right? Gold color, finishing. These are things that you can answer by looking at Pinterest and seeing what you like. Because on Pinterest, you'll be able to see things like rings that are completely plain, or rings with diamonds, or maybe rings that mix diamonds and gemstones. You guys will also see, even just on my Instagram page, I try to show people wedding bands that don't use necessarily like the typical round diamonds. You can also use fancy cut diamonds, right? There are eternity bands where you can do all emerald cuts. I know a lot of my clients love that one. But it kind of opens up the world of possibilities to you. One tip that I would give you guys is, as you're searching on Pinterest, is to get a sense of the vibe that you like. So do you like something super minimalist? Do you like something with a lot of maybe vintage, like mill grain details? Are you somebody who likes it like with a lot of sparkle? So like the fancy cut eternity rings I mentioned, if that really appeals to you, then you kind of know what you like, right? And once you guys do that sort of Pinterest round of exploration, you can go into Google with more specific terms. So if you figure out you want like rose gold, vintage, marquise, wedding band, right? You can go on Google and just see if there's anything that catches your eye. So that's the initial stage. The next stage, when it comes to questions like ring width and ring profile, sometimes my clients find it helpful to walk into a store, like a jewelry store, and go try some stuff on, because then you can see, okay, this is what 2mm looks on my finger, this is what 4mm looks on my finger, and this is what like a ring with a half round profile looks like. And that's just helpful for you to kind of see the big picture.
I think I mentioned to you guys at the beginning of the call, one of the limitations of brick and mortar stores is that they're not going to have like 10,000 options for you to choose from, not that huge variety that you see on Pinterest. But I think sort of combining the online and offline aspect of research is going to give you a good sense of possibilities, right? Of course, like Cassandra, you said, how do you choose one? Okay, part of it is you have to sleep on it, right? Sometimes, I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I see something on Monday, I'm like, oh, that's really nice. And I see something on Friday, oh, that's really nice too. So you have to give yourself a little bit of time to sleep on it. And then if there's a design that kind of keeps coming back to you, and elements of a design even that keep coming back to you, you're going to know that, okay, maybe that's something that I should explore. And obviously, when you guys talk to me or someone like me, I'm going to give you, ideas and tips and stuff like that. But Cassandra, if you're online, let me know. I hope that answers your question. But a lot of people ask me this question, so those are my insider tips.
Nice. It actually, like, it never comes to my mind that actually we can actually use Pinterest. It's such a simple, classy move that you could actually plug a lot of ideas. It's not just about rings, but there's a lot of things in the world you can actually use Pinterest. And I do agree with that. Now that you say that, it's like, it's so simple, but it's like, oh, you just get it. So just now you mentioned about the pros and cons, right?
Yeah, you bring up a very good point, just really quick. Because sometimes you go on Pinterest and you can be a little bit lost. It's kind of like interior design. You go online, you'll see like 10,000 things. So that's where the benefit of like talking to someone like me, I'll be able to help you like narrow it down, okay? But yeah, create a Pinterest board. Sorry. Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's okay. For me, I'll definitely, because I also use it as like an inspirational kind of thing. When I'm stuck in the rut, I feel like, Pinterest is definitely one of those things that could generate ideas for you. If you are like, you totally don't know where to start, I think that's the best starting point. And you can build, it's like a building block, and you can slowly kind of like get the groove and actually show something, there's some visual sense to it. So that's quite a good tip. So just like you mentioned about the plain versus the diamond bands, let's just dive into the pros and cons.
Okay, good question. I get this question all the time. Okay, so let's talk about the pros of each, okay? If you get a plain band, I mean, I think you guys know that if your wedding band is completely plain, there are no stones whatsoever, it's very easy to wear, it's very fuss-free, right? You put it on and then you forget about it. You're rock climbing, you're doing the dishes, it's not something you have to think about. Of course, if the band is plain, then you can probably stack it with all kinds of rings. It doesn't matter what their design is. It's very easy to match. It's very low maintenance as well, because if there are no gemstones on it, there's going to be nothing that really traps dirt, grease. Diamonds tend to attract, people don't realize, but diamonds tend to attract actually a layer of grease on the surface. So if you have a band that has no diamonds, then that's not something you're going to have to worry about. If you're someone who wears a lot of stockings to go to work, some women do that, right? They wear a lot of cashmere stuff. They worry about their rings like pulling on or causing runs in their stockings or pulling on their cashmere scarves. That's something, if you have a plain ring, you don't have to worry about that at all. For the women who are expecting, or they just have young kids, that's something that we sort of take into consideration as well, because again, this depends on the construction of the ring. There are ways to do this better, but if you buy like a diamond ring from some random place, you might worry about those stones and the sharp edges of the setting like scratching the baby. So that's, I guess, the pros of a plain wedding band, okay? The pros of a diamond ring are that you get extra sparkle. So this is something that all women love, right? You don't even have to wear anything. You just put your diamond ring on and that's sparkle. And it can be worn on its own. It doesn't need to be stacked with other things. Sometimes a plain band, obviously, it's more minimalist, right? And a lot of women, the reason why they love diamond bands for their wedding rings is that it's really your chance to get something unique. Maybe you've never owned like a sort of a classic diamond ring in your life, and this is your chance to get it. Of course, like I mentioned earlier, you can also get fancy shaped diamonds that you can wear all the time, no matter the occasion. So that's sort of like, I guess, the pros of each, and implicit in that is the cons of each. So I hope that helps you guys kind of split it up and try to make a decision. Actually, Yan Song, I have a question for you, because you do videos and photos for weddings, right? So when you shoot the rings, how often do you see them matching? Just curious.
The common trend with couples, right, is actually more rings are actually similar as to compare to different. Okay. Back to you, Amanda.
Yeah, so okay, so that's one perspective, right? Because obviously Yensong shoots. I would actually say these days the couples that I get, because I make a lot of custom jewelry, is that I always tell the couples that no, they don't have to be matching, right? And when I say matching, I'm talking about okay, rose gold and rose gold, white gold and white gold, or this texture and that texture. And the reason why I say they don't have to be matching is because it's 2020. Like as an individual, you get to get whatever you like because at the end of the day, you are the person that's going to be wearing that ring forever. So like sometimes I see couples whereby like the bride really loves rose gold, and then the groom does not want rose gold. He wants something that's like matte and yellow gold. So basically my short answer to this question is that no, you don't have to be matching. Okay, get whatever you like, guys. You know, in Yento's case, he's seeing a lot of similarities, but I think that's to some degree, if I may, that is a result of, I guess, the brick and mortar jewelry stores selling that. You know, it's sort of in their interest to sell you a matching pair. Whereas for me, obviously, I'm making a lot of rings from scratch for people, so they get to kind of express whatever they personally really want. Right? So there's both, right? You can get the matching. We can. I'll talk more about this later, but you know, we've created rings that are sort of unique, but then they have some common element that ties them together in a more subtle way. So I'll talk about that later when I answer one of the later questions. But yes.
Okay.
I hope that helps.
Yeah, that definitely helps me to kind of make a decision to it. Yeah. The next question is actually about lifestyle. It's also something that I'm actually quite interested to know. Yeah, because I have a quite an active lifestyle. For me, mainly is working out and swimming. So are there things that we need to take note of if we are having more of a lifestyle, like we have a more active lifestyle per se? Yeah.
Okay, so what is it, Yentong? You say you swim, and what was the other thing you said?
I work out, so I just go to the park.
He works out. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the two interesting points. In general, if you are very active, you're like, you know, doing a lot of things, like maybe go to the gym a lot, right? Lifting weights, then I would say do something kind of simple. Without maybe a lot of gemstones, because as I said earlier, diamonds specifically tend to attract a layer of grease on the top that makes them look slightly duller. You have to keep them clean in order to keep the sparkle. So if you're using your hands a lot, go with something simple. Yensong brought up an important point, which is that he goes swimming. So with a lot of gemstones that are more fragile, or basically the diamonds, for example, is one extreme example, right? Because diamonds are the hardest like substance on earth. Nothing can scratch a diamond but a diamond. But for gemstones, like for example, an emerald stone, right? That beautiful forest green color. Emeralds are actually naturally very fractured by nature, just because of the way that they were formed in the center of the earth as they were coming up. So the last thing you want to do is take a very fractured gemstone and go swimming with it, right? Because the chlorine is going to affect it in a very negative way. And that applies to other more fragile gemstones as well. So if that's part of your lifestyle, I would say either go plain or have diamonds, because diamonds are usually fine with most things. But I still, even with diamond rings, would not recommend you put them in chlorinated water. So that's what I would say. It kind of reminds me too that I should talk about the profile of the rings. Remember earlier I went through like the 5 different steps. Ring profile is one of them. So if you're using your hands a lot, you definitely don't want to do like any designs with sharp edges. And that's where like the half round outside profile can be the most practical option for you.
Nice. Hey, thanks. That's really helpful, like to make me aware of the characteristics of the different gemstones and how they will react to different situation, a different lifestyle would affect how we purchase our rings. Oh, okay.
Yes.
We have a intersection question. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah. I just want to pop it on screen now. How about hand sanitizers with high alcohol content? Since we are using more nowadays, does it affect the diamond rings?
Who asked me this question?
Cassandra Lim.
A very smart person who asked me this question. Oh, Cassandra, did you just ask this on Facebook? Is that what she did?
Yep. She asked it on Facebook.
Cassandra, that is such a good question. Okay. If you're using hand sanitizer, well, first of all, with diamond rings and jewelry, I try to tell my clients, don't let any chemicals of any kind touch your rings. The reason being that they can be corrosive. Sanitizer is not that bad, but what you don't want to do is like with certain gemstones, like sanitizer by nature is like drying, right? So like I mentioned, with emeralds, sometimes they actually are filled with oil to prevent the crack, like the fractures from just drying out. So definitely you don't want to use sanitizer on a gemstone like that. With diamonds, it's okay, but again, I would not recommend having sanitizer over your jewelry all the time. I know I see women all the time. Let me tell you, every jeweler we see women like touching their hands, hand cream, not just, sanitizer, hand cream, all kinds of other things. Just avoid cleaning. If you're cleaning your house with Clorox, like take off your rings, okay, ladies? That's the answer to the question. I hope I answered the question.
It's quite.
But try to avoid. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the next question, right? Is
so
what
we're
are
at
the
question number 7. Okay.
7, yeah. So what are the most popular designs that you have seen clients made? Yeah.
Okay. So I get this all the time. Let's talk about women and then we'll talk about guys. Okay. So
sure.
For the women, the most popular by far is the half or 3/4 eternity bands, and those are approximately 2 mm or 2.5 mm. That is, not even just with wedding rings, just with rings in general. I think every woman really loves wedding ring, as in not wedding ring, sorry, diamond rings. They want a classic diamond ring, and the half and 3/4 eternity band falls into that category. Obviously, if you really love your diamonds and your sparkle, then the shared prong eternity ring is also something that I've seen as very popular. If you guys don't know what that looks like, you can go to my stories. I put like a whole bunch under my wedding band highlights. But those, if you want like sort of it to stand out a little bit more, like maybe you have a solitaire engagement ring, then you want a shared prong eternity ring with slightly bigger diamonds. So that would be maybe 3 mm or 3.5 mm if you want something bigger. So those are by far the two most popular designs for wedding bands and just bands in general, custom rings that women just want to make themselves. These days, there's a particular design like this diamond braided twist that's very popular as well. I also put that on my Instagram. You guys can see. Basically, it's interlacing like a band with diamonds with a plain band. And that's where you can kind of see the gold color. So if you love rose gold, you're going to be able to see like that row of diamonds and also the rose gold band. So that's something that's quite beautiful, especially if you have a minimalist engagement ring. That's quite popular. If you're like a yoga teacher, or for my clients who work in the medical field, then for them, something plain is the most common. But in general, I think unless you have a job that makes it difficult to wear a diamond ring, usually women love to have a diamond ring as their wedding band because they like the flexibility of being able to wear it on its own. And, it kind of adds something to your wardrobe, even if you're wearing nothing else. So that's the most popular designs for the ladies, okay? Let's talk about the guys now.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So the guys are usually very straightforward. The last thing you want to do is spend a lot of time thinking about your wedding bands, right? Especially because you want to go about your life, right? The guys are not like, I'm going to go look at my ring and think about this all day. Unlike us, right? So the guys are very straightforward. If you guys remember my ring profile slide, I don't know, Yen Tong, if you can pull it up again, but it doesn't matter. So basically, the ring profile, the one where you see,
Yep.
So I just gonna get Yen Tong to show it to you again. But basically, the most common combination for guys is a half round outside profile, as I mentioned, and the comfort fit inside, because that's the one where it's really just the most practical thing. You're gonna put it on, you're not gonna think about it. The bandwidth is also key, like I mentioned to you guys. 4 to 4.5 mm is the most comfortable. And then it's a toss-up. It's 50-50 between polished and matte. So some guys like the polished look, some guys like the matte look. That one is a matter of personal preference. But as a general sort of classic timeless wedding band, I would say those are the things that the guys opt for. They're the most popular.
Cool. Okay. Let me get this out. Yep. Yeah. Thanks for suggesting the popular design. But this kind of designs, right? I'm just curious. Like, is it like a trend thing? Like maybe this year is like these are the most popular. Then next year they will change, or is it? Does it take a while to kind of change the trend?
So of the rings that I mentioned, everything is timeless and classic, right? If you guys sort of, not say that you follow jewelry, but you'll notice that year after year, you're going to see the same things, because there's a reason why certain things are timeless. The diamond eternity band is timeless. The shared prong eternity band is timeless. A plain ring is timeless, especially the one for the guys, right? Half round outside, comfort fit inside. It's been around for more than 100 years as the most popular thing. Where I would say there's a little bit more like on trend stuff is the diamond braid that I mentioned. That's a little bit more on trend at the moment. The two-tone wedding bands that you guys can see at your like chain jewelry stores, right? Mixed rose gold, white gold. That is something that is also quite on trend at the moment.
Okay. Wow. That's kind of good to know for a guy, because for us it's more functionality that could like do the job, and we could still appreciate on the side. Okay, so the next question, let's see. Yep, the next question is about the biggest mistake you have seen people make when it comes to their wedding bands. Yeah.
Oh yeah, so that's a perfect segue from the previous question, because Yan Song asked me like what's something that is very trendy. So one of the mistakes I do see clients make is when they pick a design that is too trendy or too specific, because that is something that you can grow out of it, right? It might be really exciting now and very cutting edge at the moment, but in 5 years you're gonna be like, why did I pick that particular thing? So for me, again, this is also my personal input for you guys, okay, is like mixing gold colors is a little bit of a trend. Something very specific, like, I don't know, like, you know, all these chain jewelry stores are always trying to come up with something to kind of catch your eye. So whatever funky thing they come up with this particular season is like not what I would necessarily recommend, right? So maybe they're doing like a leaf design, like this is the in thing now, or this is like, I don't know, something like, or yeah, they're trying to sort of pick artistic theme and then try to run with it in a ring, right? I mean, the joke is, I think I was talking to someone recently about like Lord of the Rings, right? Some people are really Lord of the Rings, they're very into the movie, so they get like wedding rings that are related to that. But something that is so specific, you might grow out of. Okay, so that's one. Major mistake one is something too trendy or too thematic. Mistake number two is that they don't think practical. And this is not your fault necessarily, right? Because you guys get a lot of marketing stuff thrown in your face. So if you go for something that's too complicated, again, for these people who are trying to catch your eye, sometimes they design things that are just out there. And when you have a ring that's too complicated, what happens is you're going to actually have more surface area that traps like dirt and grease. So Nadia, if you're on the Facebook Live, say hi, because you asked me like earlier today, how should one clean and care for rings, right? So if something is too complicated, then forget the cleaning side of it. You're gonna have to get somebody professional to put it in a like ultrasonic cleaner, or for certain stones that's not ideal. So like if something becomes too complicated, it's kind of a pain. Just a tip to you guys, because you're gonna see a lot of this. Channel set diamond rings, ladies, I would avoid channel set diamond rings. They look cool because a channel set basically has like a border of gold, right? And then you have the diamonds. And it's interesting because the border of gold is what basically sort of keeps the diamonds in one row from both sides. But what happens is that there's a lot of space and a lot of gaps in between the diamonds that tend to trap dirt. Okay, so take it from someone who maintains other people's jewelry. It's not something that I would recommend because it looks super sparkly now, but it's not going to be great down the road. Okay, so that is on the mistake number two, is like you don't think practical about that kind of stuff. One other thing, just before I forget, is sometimes, especially with the guys, you think, oh, this ring is like really like the width wise it's quite thick. Like if you get a wedding band that is like too heavy or too chunky in that sense, it can be a pain. Because it looks cool and you think, oh, this is so manly in the photo, right? But then you wear it, you're like, oh my gosh. So that's one common thing. Sharp edges, also avoid that. So far the two problems I talked about is something that's too trendy or too thematic. Second point is that you're not thinking practical. And the last point I want to make is actually people don't, and this is not your fault either, but a lot of people end up getting something ready-made, like in a jewelry store. So just background information for you guys. If you go into a brick and mortar store or any kind of jeweler whereby they have like jewelry, a lot of that is actually made in factories in China. It's coming off of a conveyor belt. Okay, I'm just going to tell you guys the truth. So what happens is that when you're mass producing something, the quality of each individual piece is going to be very different versus ones that we're making it from scratch. I think you guys kind of know the difference, right, between something off the rack and something that's bespoke. So the mistake people make is that they think that maybe custom jewelry is so far out of their reach that it's not affordable. And like with someone like me, that's not the case because, you know, I don't have like the fixed cost or the branding or the rent of these big stores. So you can actually get far better quality at a very affordable price. So the third mistake I would say is you go and buy something that is cookie cutter. And, you know, that when you could actually be making something just for you. So that's what I would say.
Okay, that's good. That's
How are we
good.
doing? Everybody is still alive?
Yeah,
Still alive, guys? Are you
if
here? Wait.
everybody you're still watching and you are benefiting from it, do let us know in the comments below. Just say hi or like just wave, give us a digital
Yeah.
wave, give an emoji wave or something. And we do see the questions coming in that we will address slightly later. We have like three more questions before we go to the live questions. Talk about questions. I just want to kind of pop this on the stream right now on Facebook. Christine say like, oh my god, Amanda, I love your sapphire ring.
Oh, look at that.
Yes.
Somebody's noticed.
Someone noticed that. So I just want to kind of flash to let you know that. Yeah. So you talk about rings, right? How do we make our rings special to us to create a certain meaning? Yeah.
Okay, so I love this question, and sometimes I put this question here because people, I think you guys want to know this, but you don't think to ask this necessarily. And this is something that I believe in. Again, when you're making something for yourself, you get to think about how to make it unique just for you guys, right? So I'm going to give you a couple ideas, okay? One idea to make it special is to think about common themes that are unique to you, right? I had a client, his wife-to-be really loves the beach, so we custom made a ring that was a plain yellow gold band, but with the outline and texture of the water touching the beach. You know what I mean? You guys know what I mean, right? When the waves are coming up and then they recede, you actually kind of see the outline. So we made a ring that was like alluding to her love of the beach and something that, you know, they've had a lot of happy moments walking down the beach. So that's the one very beautiful thing and way to incorporate that into your ring. It can be things like constellations. You know, maybe you guys went stargazing one time. You can think about putting diamonds in way that like reflects the stars. We've made rings whereby couples like went hiking in the forest a lot, and so we made like wedding bands with like a tree motif, like to design that. So think about I guess important milestones or places or sort of inside jokes that you guys have that you can incorporate into the ring. We had a couple that they love the North Star idea. Their idea was like they're each other's North Star. So instead of putting like a diamond on the outside, what we did was I designed two rings whereby we put diamonds on the inside. So it's kind of like an inside design element that only the two of them would know about. But they basically have twin diamonds on the inside of their ring. So that's something kind of sweet that we can incorporate into your particular rings. Yeah. Some other ideas is to use special numbers. So I have clients that are like, my special number is 8. So I want 8 diamonds. Ring. I'm like, great, okay, we can do that, right? It's something that you just have to spend a little bit of time thinking about what you like and what means something to you. In Singapore, we're all like quite superstitious, right? Actually, in the West too, my US clients, sometimes they think about numbers they like, and that's something we can work into the design. For some people, they like to, and I talked about this in my engagement ring seminar, but the birthstones, like if you have a specific birthstone, I know Christine, if you're on, you love sapphires, right? So if you want to mix like sapphires with diamonds, or you want a wedding band that has sapphires, that's something that you can do. It's not something you're going to see out there. Again, this is something you have to custom make, but incorporating your stones and stones that maybe mean something to you guys as a couple. I talked about, you know, maybe if a couple met in a certain month, like if they met in July, then like ruby is their stone, right? Because ruby is July, and then they can work that into their wedding band. So this is one creative way. The last thing I want to mention is people don't realize that you can use heirloom jewelry. So if your mom or your boyfriend's mom like has old rings and she wants to gift it to you, we can actually take some of the stones from that jewelry. It doesn't have to be rings. It could be her earrings, her pendants. We can work those into your new wedding band. So that gives you some continuity, some family heritage, something like that is like a fun talking point for your rings. So again, like this is all part of the discovery process for me when I work with clients, is trying to like hear your story, where I spend a lot of time on that because I enjoy that. And then sometimes we're inevitably able to pull out a thread that we can kind of link and, you know, kind of work into your jewelry. So those are just some ideas. But, you know, if you want to talk about it more, we can talk about it offline.
Yeah, I think it's really good that you mentioned like discovery and the exploration phase with the couples. I feel like sometimes the limitation is the belief, like, because they don't even know that.
Yeah, imagination.
It's your own limitation. You're
limited by your imagination.
I mean, whether it can be done or not, I think it's good to let your vendors know, be it Amanda, or let us know in your films that you just have to tell us that story, and we will help you navigate. I feel like we are not just doing our role as a filmmaker or as a ring designer. I felt like we are like a Sherpa that's leading our couples to the top of the mountain to see that final that outcome that they're looking for. I think that's important to all of us lah.
And that's also the difference between working with people like us versus just going into a shop where their goal is to move their stock, right? They're like, hey, buy this ring, but they're not necessarily there to help you like figure out like maybe something that you did not even know for yourself. Because with a lot of my clients, part of the difficulty is you just don't know what's actually possible. So then you cut out all these ideas, So yes. Remember what I said, don't get something cookie cutter when you can get something made for you, okay?
Yeah, I mean it's meant for both of you, and you should spend some time to really like explore with the vendors that would want to listen to your story. Yeah.
Yes.
So the next question is about engraving topic. So do you have any ideas on what to engrave on the rings that they're buying? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, guys, last two questions. Okay, bear with us, and then we're going to go to your live stuff. Okay, ideas for engravings. This is a great one. This is fun. Again, the content and font is something that you guys should pick because that's going to express your personality. For my rings, the font can actually be chosen. So any font that you find, we can actually use to engrave. And I know that's kind of a fun thing because every couple has like a different design vibe that they want to achieve. So don't limit yourself to whatever look that you see. In terms of the content, some of the popular ones are like your initials, right? Dates are a big one because it's a lot of possibilities. It's like the date you met, the date of your when you went on your first date, when you had your first kiss, when you knew she was the one. There's so many dates that you can put into your rings. Your wedding anniversary date, dates are a big one. Okay. Another fun idea is a coordinate. So if there's actually a special place that you guys met, or a place where you propose, or a place where you're getting married, you can engrave the GPS coordinates into your ring. I had this cute couple once put like return to John like on his wife's ring because he's like, hey, if she gets lost, return her to me. So that's one fun idea. You can also do short quotes. I mean, it has to be very short, right? But whatever, if there are 3 words or something that mean a lot to you and you have a plain band, we can engrave that. Some people do like a Bible verse, right? If that's something that is very near and dear to both your hearts. And I think those are some engraving ideas, but like I said, you can also put gemstones on the inside, and that's something that, besides just engraving on the inside of your ring, you can consider that as well. So if you guys, again, this is a personal conversation that we can have or offline, but lots of ideas for engravings. White gold versus platinum. Platinum is a true white metal, so it's not mixed with any other metals, whereas white gold is actually an alloy of gold, which is yellow gold. People forget this, right? White gold is still made of yellow gold mixed with other white metals to give it that gold color. So in terms of maintenance, they both require maintenance at the end of the day. Platinum requires repolishing, right? Because platinum is actually a more malleable metal. So when you wear platinum day to day, you're going to have a lot of microscopic scratches on the surface that you're going to need to repolish to get that sheen again. For white gold over time, because white gold is an alloy of, like I said, yellow gold with other white metals that is then plated with rhodium. After a while, the microscopic scratches on your ring will wear down that rhodium plating. And over time, you're going to have to get it repolished and then replated. So there's maintenance on both sides. And the short answer is that for most of my clients, it boils down to price. It's a price difference between the two. Because platinum is a rarer, more prestigious metal. You're not going to have to get it replated, so people do opt for that if budget is not a concern. But I would say to most of my clients, vast majority of jewelry, 18K white gold is more than okay. In terms of frequency, I think Nadia asked me, or somebody else asked me as well, how often does it need to get sort of cleaned, or like the maintenance side of it? So it's usually once every couple of years. So it's not like every 2 months you need to go and send it in for repolishing and replating, guys. So on both sides, maintenance is the same. It really is a matter of price. Yeah, but for the very, very detailed and kind of technical answer, go to my IGTV. You guys can watch it. But that's a short answer. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. That's a good one. So
I think we answered all 11 questions.
I think we cleared the 11 of our the initial
Yes.
set. Now we are going to the live questions.
Yes.
We have
Sure.
two more
Let me
actually.
pull them.
Yeah.
See.
I mean, apart from Cassandra
let me
one, we already cleared that one. Then the next one is from
Oh,
Shirzi.
let me see. I think I can see them.
Yeah, okay.
Hi, Shirzi. Are you still on? Say hi if you are. I hope you're on. So let's see. Do you see her? You can read me the question again, so sorry.
Yeah, I already flashed on live stream, but Shirzi Tan said, should we get one size bigger for engagement ring, or should we get a just nice size? Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to answer this for engagement rings and wedding bands. Obviously, it's the same idea. I would say, in general, you should get a ring size that is your ring size. I think the question here is not about getting one size bigger, because, by the way, there's different ring sizing metrics. One size, like in the US ring size, if you get one size bigger, it's significantly bigger, so it might actually come off. So I would not recommend you getting one size bigger. It's not like with clothes and stuff like that. What you need to do is actually to get your ring sized by a professional. Right? You go into a store, or with me, I meet my clients. And ideally, you want to get your ring size in kind of like the late afternoon. So everybody's ring size actually fluctuates. I don't know if you guys know this, but depending on the temperature and like what you've eaten, right? There's water retention and stuff like that. So I try to measure my clients' ring sizes like 4 to 5 p.m. And that tends to be a more, I guess, accurate reading of their ring size. And in that sense, you should get it just nice, Shirzi, if that makes sense. If you're working with any decent jeweler, ring resizing is obviously is a service that we offer for my clients when I'm making custom engagement rings, or for wedding bands. Ring resizing is complimentary as part of the service. So just in case you don't get it 100% right, you wear your engagement ring or you wear a wedding band, and after a little bit of time you feel it's a little bit loose or a little bit tight, and then that's something that we can rectify. So don't get one size bigger, okay? That's my short answer. Don't get one size bigger.
I think she's more worried like if next time when she's pregnant and the body will change. I got feelings about that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, actually, no. That's a good clarification, because I was gonna say, if you anticipate like getting pregnant and stuff, part of the like thinking process when like if I were to work with you is knowing that, and then when I talked about the full eternity, things like wedding bands and pave rings, even for engagement rings, I would not recommend doing a full eternity in that case, because full eternities, especially with bigger diamonds, cannot be resized, because you would have to take them apart and basically remake the whole ring. So I usually recommend my clients, we try to do 3/4, 2/3 or 3/4, so that we leave some wiggle room for us to do ring resizing.
Okay. Then actually that also makes sense already. Now it's slowly start to make sense, because we are talking about it's a whole marathon thing. It's gonna last a lifetime. So just want to make sure that you get the perfect size. If not, you're just gonna have a lot of issue. Keep changing the size and stuff. It's gonna make it very difficult.
Yeah, I mean that being said, again, your body's gonna change. Like ladies, our bodies are gonna change over time. So I have clients that we take out, like for a shared Prong eternity ring with bigger stones, we take them out, we reset it. That's not a problem as well, right? So don't worry, either way, we take care of it. But initially, when you first get it sized properly, try to do it late afternoon after you eat something, and try, like if you spend a lot of time in the AC, like in the office, then that's where you're going to be wearing your ring the most. Then it's not it's okay to go get it resized after that. It's just that don't expect it to fit exactly right when you've been in the AC for 10 hours and then you're going to go to the hawker center. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's going to be a little bit different.
Yeah. So also take note of your lifestyle, guys, because it does affect how the ring, react to your body condition. Yeah. So this is something that we should take note of. Yeah. So the next question is from IG. I hope the person that asked CY Ching is still around. Yeah, because now we got it before we changed the stream again. So she actually asked, when you say you personally feel gold is a trend, is rose gold in that trend range too?
Oh, I think just to clarify to Wai Ching, when I didn't feel, gold is not a trend. Gold is a timeless a timeless obsession by all of humanity. But what I think, just to clarify, I meant the mixing of gold, so like rose gold and white gold. I think that can be a little bit of a trend. That two-tone thing that you guys are seeing. It's beautiful. I'm just saying that it can be a little bit of a trend. Rose gold is much more popular these days. I cannot tell you how many like ladies reach out to me, or even guys say, my girlfriend loves rose gold. Can you please make a ring rose gold? I love it. I don't think rose gold alone is one of those things that will go out of style, because it really, that blush colored pink tone is beautiful. And it looks great. Like, side note, I mean, for like the engagement, or if you guys are thinking about diamond rings, if you pick a setting with rose gold, it can actually help you save on the diamonds, because it's a warmer tone of a gold color. So your diamond doesn't have to be like a D, E, or F color necessarily, because you're contrasting with a warm tone, right? So rose gold can be great if you get a single, gold color. You can also save on the diamond, so that's a plus. So I love rose gold. I don't think rose gold itself is a trend. I think the mixing of colors is a trend.
Nice. Yeah. No. Yeah. It's actually true. Even guys, I think even for me, I actually like rose gold more. Or I feel like it's more suited.
Oh, you do? Look at that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, why not? I mean,
why do you like rose gold? Why do you like rose gold?
Like what you mentioned, I just feel like it's for me, it feels timeless. It just feels like it blends in. For me, it just feels like it blends in with, even for the guys. It suits the guys also. It's like it can blend in easily. Yeah. It's not like too harsh. Yeah. So that's how I feel like.
So this is where So like you bring out a fantastic point, right? Because you feel that rose gold is super classic, and then I talk to guys who are like, no, yellow gold is that for me, right? So that's the beauty of, right, being able to choose your own. That's why I said to you guys earlier, right, you don't have to match, right? Because even as a couple, if you don't agree on the gold color that you like, you can get whichever one you want, you know?
Makes sense. Yeah. So
yes.
We covered in fact all the questions, but while Amanda is addressing the summary of the 5 insider tips again, just want to remind you guys on Instagram and also on Facebook that if you have any questions right now, I think we can still take on one more before we can end the podcast live. But it would be good that if you guys would still have more questions to ask, please feel free to do in the comment section. Yeah, because we are giving away the $500 in prizes. As long as you ask, you will naturally qualify for it. Yeah, so just want to make sure that everybody that maybe just joined in would want to also find out more about that. Okay, so Amanda, would you like to take on?
Yes, while you guys are thinking about what genius question you want to ask me, okay, guys, my time is expensive, okay? So you get me on live and trying to ask your questions. I will save you a lot of money, okay? Yes. I promise you. I have had clients come to me after like 9 months of research and like making very expensive mistakes. So whatever you have in your mind about jewelry in general, like now is the time. Okay, just to sum up the things I've said, we answered 11 different questions and some of the other ones that you guys asked, but I have 5 insider tips. This is my advice I give everybody, okay? Friends, family. So write this down. Number 1 is start early. Remember the first question was, when do I start? Start early. You don't want to rush this process. This is actually part of the beauty of getting married. You get the chance to explore it, enjoy it. Don't make this another. I know you guys have a long list of things to do for wedding planning, right? Don't make your wedding rings like a chore. You want it to be an enjoyable process. So start at least 2 months earlier, okay? If you can. I mean, if you can, we make rings in like 2 to 3 weeks as a rush order. But for you, I don't want to rob you of the experience. So start early, number 1. Number 2, try to infuse some meaning into it, right? To the extent that you can. Obviously, sometimes we just want diamond rings, and that's great too. But to the extent that you can, at least think about it. Whether it's with your engravings, whether it's with your design, like work with someone like me, we can try to help you, create something special for both of you. Tip number 3, think about the practical side. Remember I mentioned to you guys, don't do something too complicated because maintenance is crazy. Don't buy or create rings that have a lot of sharp edges. I know guys, especially like you guys like clean lines, right? So you like the architectural look. So there are all these companies online, they make rings that look really cool. They have like these fancy like architectural, elements to it. But think about the practical side, right? If it's too chunky and it's got sharp edges, I promise you will not wear it. And the last thing I want is for you guys to like invest in fine jewelry. We put all the time and effort to make it for you and you don't wear it. For me, it's a bigger shame. Okay, so think about the practical side of it. That's number 3. Tip number 4, think about the longevity and timelessness of your ring. Okay, so what looks cool now? Is it going to look cool in 20 years? That's just something to think about. And then my last tip is actually there are no rules, right? People always ask me what are the things that I have to do. I'm like, well, it's up to you. It's really, this is the beauty of the world we live in, right? Your rings don't have to match. You don't have to have whatever it is that your mom got for her wedding ring. You can do something that's completely unique to you. You want gemstones, get gemstones. You want, yellow gold, even though your fiance wants white gold, that's great too. So they don't have to match. So 5 tips: start early, infuse some meaning into it, think about practicality, think about longevity and timelessness, and then there are no rules. Okay, so I think that's it. I think I covered my 5 insider tips.
Yep, we have
thank you
one
guys.
more. Do I have to thank
we
anyone?
have
We have one more.
Okay.
We managed to
Somebody
squeeze
asked
in
a
one
question.
more.
Okay.
It's from
Where's the question?
Jerry. Let me pop up in the
Okay.
in the chat. Which is from Facebook, Jerry. Which is easier to maintain, rose gold or gold plain rings?
Jerry, are you online? When you say rose gold or gold plain, do you mean yellow gold? Because they're all plain. Like if you don't have diamonds, then it's plain. Rose gold or gold? I think you mean rose gold or yellow gold, right?
Assuming is that until
Okay.
she answers. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Let's just assume.
So I would say yellow. I mean, the maintenance for both is similar, but I think what you're talking about is the changing of gold color, right? So obviously, if it's yellow, if it's a plain yellow gold ring, yellow gold is, I mean, it's still an alloy, but I guess there's less of a color change than if you're doing rose gold, which can over time start to look slightly more yellow, because again, that's the base of the gold alloy. So if you're thinking about the color side of it, that's what I would say. But practically, Jerry, if you're online, get whichever color you like. Okay, because either way, again, you have microscopic scratches, you're going to wear it, you're going to send it in for some kind of maintenance. So don't sacrifice what you like for something as minor as, okay, over time, the yellow or the rose gold will look slightly yellow. That can I answer your question?
Yeah, she actually acknowledges yellow gold is yellow gold.
That's what she meant. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you, Thierry. I hope that, you can text me after. We can talk more about this. You can just follow me on Instagram. We can talk about this. But I think don't sacrifice what you like. Okay?
Yeah, I think
That's
for
what I would
sure
say.
is something that you really mean something to you, rather than what the community suggests. Yeah, is what you prefer is the most important. Yep. She actually asked, would you say an engraved wedding ring would look nice, or go with a diamond engagement ring?
Sarah, are you on? Because if Sarah's on, when she says, would you say an engraved wedding ring? I'm like, do you mean engraved on the inside? But then what is it on the outside? You see what I mean? So that would be my question. I mean, if it's engraved on the inside, no one knows anyway, so...
What if it's the other way around?
I think... So is it kind of Lord of the Rings style, Sarah? If you're online. I don't know if she means Lord of the Rings style. So... when you have a diamond engagement ring, again, Sarah, I would ask what kind of diamond engagement ring, because there's multiple types. I think the 2 main ones would be like a solitaire diamond engagement ring, or one with like a pave band with more diamonds. So I would actually say if you're doing a plain wedding band with engraving, it'll go with everything. Right, whether your engagement ring itself is a solitaire and then you match another plain band, that works. Plain and plain with engraving, good. And then if you're doing an engagement ring with a pave band with little diamonds, and then you add a plain engraved ring, that's pretty too, because you're going to see contrast, right, between a diamond band and then a plain band. So, Sarah, I don't know if you're on. If you haven't, I'm trying to answer this question for everybody. But yeah, I think one cool thing about the Lord of the Rings style, which is a plain band and then a fancy engraving, is that you can just wear it on its own, right? And be like, this is my version of the Lord of the Rings, Lord of the Rings band.
That's quite, that's quite cool.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a
Yeah.
good idea. That's a good idea. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not gonna glow when like there's Sauron or whatever that scary eye guy is close by, but it would look cool regardless. Yeah.
Cool factor is like 110.
Yes.
Yeah. So we actually covered all the questions. Hopefully there isn't any more that I missed. Yeah, because there's no request, so I didn't manage to see that chunk, but I'm pretty sure we covered all of them. Yeah. So thank you, Amanda, for answering all the questions. So how about you already give us the summary, and I hope you guys really find this useful. If you find this useful, just give us a thumbs up or just say like, hey, thanks so much or something, so that we know that it's value that you guys really appreciate that.
Send it to them. I think it is helpful, like the points that we mentioned. And if you guys haven't followed me personally on Instagram at August Bespoke, I put a lot of tips. I try to make it like educational and fun for you guys. I think for those of you who have been following me, you'll see my stories. I'll give you tips in my posts and stuff like that. So definitely just follow me. I'll keep adding you guys. If you have personal questions, just send me a private message. I'm very responsive. I really read everything. And then do Yen and I a favor. If you guys follow us on Instagram or Facebook, help us share our pages, right? I think we're both very open. Like whoever it is that you pick to help you with this whole process with us, we have experience with different couples. So at least, I can speak for both of us when I say that we're just happy to help you guys regardless. Okay. We're really here to give you that advice. That's why we spend our Saturday night here with you.
Yeah. Same.
Every little bit helps, guys. Every little bit helps. But otherwise, I think we'll leave you guys to enjoy your evening, okay? Thank you very much. Christine, you stayed! Oh my God, you stayed. Let's give Christine props. Christine is in Melbourne, okay? It's like 11:36 right now.
Amazing. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, guys, well, enjoy your weekend, okay?
Yeah,
do something
stay
fun.
safe also. Please make sure you wash your hands, keep your safe distancing, but you still get to meet your friends, but still make sure that everything is proper and safe. Yeah. So we are not gonna drag too much of our time. This actually marks the end of the live stream. So thank you everyone. We might have another live stream next week, so I will keep you guys updated. So do follow us so that you won't miss out the news. Okay.
Bye guys.
Okay, bye guys.
Good night. Bye.